So if you're in the path of this storm, please take this seriously. Make sure that you're getting to the lowest level of your home, away from the windows, and make sure that you're taking shelter right away, as this presents the chance of producing some more damage in the area. We'll zoom in even closer here. Again, points immediately northwest of Groton are about to receive this storm. And the area of rotation that is tightest appears to be right within that circle. So that's where we have the greatest concern of a tornado touching down right now, as that continues on its path to the southeast. Tornado warning there inside of the red box. That's going to be lasting until 4:45 this afternoon, so a pretty long duration there. And I'm going to bring up some of the cities that could be impacted by this storm. There you can see as we slice to the southeast. Looks like that'll be arriving in Groton within the next, well, basically right now, and then into Smyrna at 4:26 this afternoon. Belding, not out of the woods either. You're contained within the polygon as well. Basically, anybody in northeastern Kent County, northwestern Ionia County should be prepared for that storm to roll in. I'm going to switch over to our velocity mode here to try to pinpoint where the best spin is in this storm. Looks like it's fairly clear there, immediately north of Groton. Starting to see the wind pick up outside of our studio as well here in downtown Grand Rapids. Again, the storm's fairly far away from us, though. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. It looks like this storm probably right here, immediately east of Wabassis Avenue, just north of Belding Road, moving to the southeast at, again, approximately 15 to 20 miles per hour. So this is a potentially dangerous situation. That tornado warning there lasting through another 45 minutes. The storm already has produced tons of rainfall, some nickel-sized hail. South of Cedar Springs, there is also a report of some 1.5-inch sized hail and some wind gusts that have really been potent also. So if you are in the path of this storm, please make sure that you are getting to a safe spot in your home right now. You can see, I'm going to turn off the warning layer for just a moment because that kind of muddies things up just a little bit with the red and the green. There you can see where we have that circulation. I think, again, just north of Groton is where we have that best chance of a tornado on the ground right now. Probably right about there or so. Meteorologist Blake Harms is also in the tracking center this afternoon. He's keeping a close eye on the National Weather Service chat to see if they have any information for us too. You can see a very heavy downpour which is occurring now in East Grand Rapids, associated with a storm again on the east end of town here.
Yeah, just north of Groton, the center of rotation looks like it's located just north of Belding Road by about a mile, maybe.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy to pick out there in reflectivity. Yeah, I don't see any imminent sign, but what we've been watching and what the Weather Service has been watching, and actually I'm going to show this to you in a loop over the last 30 minutes. Watch these storms lifting north. See this line right here? As this line's been lifting north, there you get a live view out of Grand Valley. Dark clouds continue. If we can show you radar here, here in the tracking center. Let me walk you through this on monitor 6. We have storms that are intersecting one another, which is happening again, and I think that's what's been increasing our tornado potential. So watch these storms. They're lifting north. Meanwhile, we have this line coming in from the northwest. What's happening now is spin is being enhanced near the Groton area, and that is what's prompted this higher tornado threat. So we have a lot of boundaries in play today. Boundaries are basically gust fronts that are created from storms, outflow from thunderstorms, and that is what's kind of been making things messy and producing these areas of possible spin-ups. We had one tornado warning that was in effect for Ionia County. That has been canceled. New one now for parts of Kent and Ionia County. And this is not the only strong storm that we're tracking. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for far eastern Newaygo County at this time. And that is also for far northwestern Montcalm County into western Mecosta County. This storm is capable of producing winds up to 60 miles per hour. But this is the tornado warning storm that we're focused on, centered on the north side of Groton. If we look at the rotation rate, it certainly has picked up here in the last few scans. Core of that rotation looks to be near Hart Street, Lincoln Lake Road, and Hart, kind of where it's heading. No indication, at least from my perspective, that we have a tornado in progress, but the rotation is certainly tight, and that is what has prompted this tornado warning as these two storms kind of came together. And that's what we're going to have to continue to watch here as this tornado warning remains in effect until 4:45. Of course, we're going to continue to watch potential for power outages, and any reports that you have, send them to us at weather@woodtv.com. We'd appreciate that as well. It looks like we had a flare-up, and what we're continuing to keep a close eye on now is how long can this rotation potential stay with us. This time, though, it's going to be moving out of Kent County in the next few minutes. On the north side of Grattan now will eventually be clipping likely the south side of Belding. So if you're in Belding, why don't you head to your tornado safe spot? A lot of lightning. We heard from folks in Ionia County as the storm rolled through that there was a lot of kind of a low rumble of thunder occurring throughout the entirety of the storm and a lot of lightning. So this is a dangerous storm even without the tornado threat. You should be inside. And if you're within this red polygon here, Grattan over towards Smyrna, Belding, south side of Belding especially, you should be heading to your tornado safe spot as we do continue to watch this area right in here for the potential of a tornado spin up here momentarily.
Thank you, Blake. Certainly seeing that collision of the wind there north of Grattan right now, and that storm is moving to the southeast, 15 to 20 miles an hour. As you mentioned, if you live in Belding, if you live in Smyrna, it's important that you're seeking a safe spot in your home right now. There you can see the storm on radar right now. I'm going to flip the different warnings back on here so that we can bring up that info for you. There you can see in the red polygon on your screen a continuation of that tornado warning. Kind of zoomed in a little close here. I'm going to jump things back out just a touch. You can also see that even if you're not in the severe thunderstorm warning or the tornado warning, there is some very heavy rain that is coming down just east of Alpine Township into Belmont. Cannonsburg, also kind of on the cusp here of one of those communities that could be impacted with these storms. A severe thunderstorm warning basically immediately northeast, so you can't rule out seeing a bit of damage there also. We've also been tracking some of these boundaries, as Blake mentioned, and along those there have been some reports of some very gusty winds too, so I can't discount that also as you move toward Fowlsburg Park. We also brought up a camera a little bit ago in East Grand Rapids. That's where we had some very heavy rain, which is happening right now. With its proximity to the radar site there at the airport, it kind of makes things a little bit more difficult to decipher. It's not quite as clean of an image there closer to the radar point, but we do have some very heavy rainfall, which extends just to the east of Grand Rapids as you move toward Beltline and then into Forest Hills. There's the view from the airport right now, and you can definitely see those ominous skies as these storms continue to churn through the area. We've had some wind gusts this afternoon, measuring around 60 miles per hour. We've had some golf ball-sized hail and a couple of different tornado warnings. Also a very menacing wall cloud picture that was taken out in Woodbury associated with the storm there.
Just a quick reminder, Kent County tends to sound their sirens on almost a county-wide basis, so there's a good chance that folks in Forest Hills, Cascade, Kentwood, Granville, Wyoming, Grand Rapids, Sparta, Cedar Springs may be hearing the sirens going off, but this tornado threat is pretty localized to the east central part of Kent County, right in here, centered over Grattan. So notice most of Kent County, some of you are still receiving rain, some in Plainfield Township, about to head over to East Grand Rapids. You may be experiencing heavy rain and lightning, and that may scare you a little bit, but the main area of rotation, the main area of a possible tornado would be located in east central Kent County. This is east of Rockford now, over toward Grattan, and eventually about to move into Ionia County. So just an important reminder, we hear about that often where folks will hear the sirens even when they're not being impacted by the storm. Want to emphasize this is only for you folks in and around the Grattan to Abassus Lake vicinity, moving toward Belding here, crossing over to Ionia County within the next 10 minutes or so. Not to say you couldn't experience some lightning, some thunder, some strong wind gusts, but at this point, the greatest tornado threat is pretty localized over the Grattan area. And we're just receiving an update. It looks like that kind of what we've been talking about, their area of rotation has weakened a little. It's still there, yeah. Certainly still there, but it's not as strong as it was just a few minutes ago. Want to quickly bring up, power just flashed. You may be getting some gusty winds here.
I saw that too.
We do have a severe thunderstorm warning. Just want to repoint this out. This is heading up 131 toward the Big Rapids area, Morley and Stanwood. Eventually Big Rapids may be in for some really gusty winds and some large hail. So that is important to keep in mind here. If you are in Mecosta County, you may be experiencing some pretty hefty wind, enough to knock out power down some trees, and potentially some large hail as well. But of course, the focus remains on this complex of storms, and more importantly, this tornado warning in the Grattan area.
Thank you, Blake. And that was an important reminder also. Usually those sirens are initiated on sort of a county-wide basis. So you may hear them even if you aren't necessarily immediately in the path of this thunderstorm. But again, mainly concentrated in northeastern parts of Kent County into northwestern zones there in Ionia County. That's where we have the greatest concern in regards to the possibility of a tornado on the ground right now. There you can see the view from East Grand Rapids. They've been receiving a very heavy downpour over the past 10 to 15 minutes or so, and also some pretty strong winds, as you can see there on the lake, and also with the flag flapping in the breeze. There's a look in downtown Grand Rapids right now too, looking northward, I believe, and you can see some of those dark clouds overhead as well. So again, we could receive some very heavy rain, some lightning, some gusty winds, as Blake mentioned, but really the strongest area of this storm continues to impact their points just south of Wabasas Lake and just north of Grattan. Looks like the tightest spiral right now is currently there. So that's where we'd probably have the best chance of a tornado touching down at this moment. I'm going to try to clear that off. There we go. Again, this is pushing southeast. Areas near Belding, Smyrna are going to be in the path of this storm as that moves right along that pathway. So even if you live on the periphery, though, further north or south of that line, you're still going to want to make sure that you're seeking shelter too, as that storm could produce some damage along the path and also some strong winds.
Scott, one thing I've been noticing is as this storm is continuing to track southeast, it's beginning to kind of move left a little bit. It's left turning, what we call. The Weather Service first pointed that out, but as we loop radar into motion, you can actually see it. So it was diving, this area of rotation was diving southeast. Now it's almost moving due east, and it's a little weaker than it was, still present. So the Belding area may now be ready to experience at least some rotation. We do not have confirmation that a tornado is on the ground at this time, but the reason we have a tornado warning is because there is potential for a tornado to develop. And so if you are in northwestern Ionia County, especially in the city of Belding, you should probably be heading to your safe spot, as this storm is now beginning to shift more east than southeast. And if we turn on the actual reflectivity, you can kind of see that here, where the complex of heavier rain is beginning to shift and now move almost due east, about to straddle that Ionia-Montcalm County line here momentarily. So that's just kind of what I've been noticing. And again, these storms have not been playing by any particular rule book today, doing all sorts of crazy things on us. But of course, we do continue to watch the potential for some spin-up tornadoes.
Thank you, Blake. Yeah, that animation is definitely, it helps to clarify things some. There's the view in East Grand Rapids where the downpour continues. As Blake just mentioned, this storm taking a little bit more of an easterly track now, so continuing to shift toward Belding. You can also see that we have another outflow boundary here, which extends from Coopersville toward Granville, northward toward Ashland. So just a lot of boundaries that these storms could interact with and potentially flare up upon. We have also that severe thunderstorm warning further north, impacting points just south of Big Rapids. There you can see it on your screen. That's also going to continue through this afternoon. Looks like the hail core is basically right along US 131, so not a good situation there. That storm does have the potential of producing hail and gusty winds, as that also continues through, I believe, 4:30 or 4:45 this afternoon. So potentially a dangerous situation there to also take note of if you're in the path of that storm.
Scott, just got an update from the Weather Service. They've kind of been noticing that the rotation has been weakening with that storm, and it looks like we do have a cancellation of that tornado warning coming here in the next few minutes. There it goes. There, we just got it dropped. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warning in place for east central Kent County into northwestern Ionia County. We also have the storm that you were just talking about up and moving into Mecosta County that's capable of producing some strong winds and some downpours here on the east side of Grand Rapids. But at this point, the tornado threat has diminished, and so that warning has officially been canceled for Kent and Ionia counties. And so that is good news. Now, flooding still possible, gusty winds, some hail still possible with the storm, if not likely, but the tornado threat is no longer appears to be imminent, which of course is good news. So with that, I think if our folks on the news side are ready, we're about 13 minutes into the 4 o'clock newscast, but we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back with a refresh on the weather, and we'll also have News 8 at 4 that's coming up in just a few minutes.